emerging technologies, empowering educators for the future. So, respected and honorable head academic Cordia Group of Institutions, our speaker for the day, and honorable principal and convener of the FD, Dr. Professor Rajni Gaur, and dear participants. As we move into the third day of this journey, we take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to the management of the Cordia Group of Institutions for providing this valuable opportunity to organize the FDP and bring together educators from across the country on a common platform. As you all are aware that this FDP is being conducted in collaboration with the three sister institutions, Srimati Jwala Devi College of Education, Cordia College Sakol, and Cordia Institute of Business Management, under the umbrella of Srimati Jwala Devi Memorial Trust, led by Honorable Lord Jagmeet Singh Rana, member of the British Parliament and British Empire, United Kingdom, whose visionary leadership has been focused on the transformation of rural communities by bringing urban level educational infrastructure and opportunities to the rural area. We are also fortunate to be guided by educationist Dr. Urmil Verma ma'am, Executive Trustee of Srimati Jwala Devi Memorial Trust, Sanghol, and Chairperson of the Geo Education Council, United Kingdom. So this FDP stands as a reflection of their shared commitment to empowering educators and creating future-ready institutions. So we have now arrived at the end of our FDP, and today's focus is on highly relevant and timely. I request all the participants to kindly mute. Today's focus is on a highly relevant and timely theme, which is strategic alignment with NEP 2020 goals. So before proceeding further, a few quick announcements. Here, I would like to share. Participants are kindly requested to post your queries in the chat box during the session, and as always, the feedback link will be shared in the chat and FDP WhatsApp group. So kindly make sure you fill it out after the session, as certificates will be issued based on daily feedback submission. So now, without any further delay, I request our principal and convener of this FDP, Professor Dr. Rajni Gaur, to deliver the formal welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Paramji. Good morning to all present here. It is with a great joy and deep respect that I extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed resource person for today's International Faculty Development Program, Dr. Arshad Ikram Ahmad, sir. Sir is a distinguished academician whose contribution to the field of education are both wide-ranging and impactful. So with a doctorate in education and masters in both English and education, he brings with him an exceptional blend of academic depth and practical insight. Sir has given his consent to be the resource person for this faculty development program. We are really honored, sir, that you are sharing your knowledge and enriching our knowledge with your wisdom of words. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now over to you, Paramjit ma'am. You are mute, ma'am. Paramjit ma'am, you are mute. You are mute.
So much, ma'am, for your kind words. So now, before we begin the session, let me take a moment to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Dr. Arshad Ikram Ahmad, sir. Sir holds a doctorate in education and master degree in both English and education. His rich experience spans across school education, teacher training, and higher education. Sir has served in key positions with the Directorate of Education, Delhi, and also as an English teacher as SCRT, Delhi. Sir has taught teaching of English and other educational subjects and currently serves as professor in the Department of Educational Study at Jamia Millia, Islamia. His academic interests include language education, educational administration, and sociology of education. A multilingual scholar, developed and edited educational materials in Hindi, Urdu, and English, and also contributed to trilingual directories in collaboration with NCERT and to English textbook for the Bihar State Board. Dr. Arshad has guided 15 PhD scholars led two significant research projects, and has more than 15 publications in reputed national and international journals. So, thank you once again, sir, for joining us today, and we are eager to hear from you and gain from your valuable insight. Over to you, sir.
Sir,
I
you are mute.
for the day, Dr. Arshad, sir, to begin the session. Session is over to you, sir.
ये भी stop कर दो.
Is my voice audible
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and slides visible? Slides are visible? Dr. Rajni? Are my slides visible?
Sir, slides are visible, but can you speak bit louder, or maybe the screen is close to you?
Okay. Okay. Am I audible right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning to all of you, and thank you very much, Dr. Rajni Gaur, for giving me this opportunity to connect with you on the topic Strategic Alignment with National Education Policy 2020 goals. I'm also thankful to Dr. Paramjeet for introducing me and providing me this platform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm thankful to Dr. Ajit, Professor Ajit, who has given me this space. I'm right now in CIE, Central Institute of Education, University of Delhi, where I had been, to take care of some important tasks, confidential tasks, and that is why I am very sorry I could not join on time. So I'm very sorry for that, and I'm also thankful to Professor Sarika Sharma, who brought me to CIE, who's sitting here, and on face-to-face mode, she is listening to what I'm saying. So coming to the business, that is strategic alignment with National Education Policy 2020. So before I formally start, once again, I'm thankful to Dr. Rajni Gaur and all the members of the management of Kodia College and other associated organizations who are taking care of this particular program. When we talk about strategic alignment with national education goals, national education policy goals, obviously we must keep in mind that first and foremost goal of national education policy, that is NEP 2020, is to transform education for a knowledge difference in India. Across the country, we have to create such an ambience, where every one of us should strive for achieving or acquiring knowledge. That is one of the important goals of NEP 2020. Let us have a quick look before we look at the strategic alignment of NEP 2020. What exactly NEP 2020 has vision for transforming India into a global knowledge. And obviously, the broader vision of NEP 2020 is to transform India into a global knowledge superpower through a holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary education system. Now we have three important key words here: holistic, flexible. Holistic means it should be comprehensive. Flexible, it should be, to the level and interest of everyone. And obviously, we should move from disciplinary approach to multidisciplinary education system, wherein all the disciplines together could contribute to creating new knowledge or disseminating the knowledge which has already been created. When we look at the pillars of NEP 2020, so these are five important pillars on the basis of which we should perceive as to whether NEP is being implemented in true letter and spirit at two levels. The school level, because if you look at the entire document, the document is divided into two parts. One deals with school education, another deals with higher education. So whatever the level may be, it is based on five solid pillars. They are access. So that means whether it is high school education, access, accessibility on accessibility front, we should be very strong. And second is equity. Obviously, we are living in a country which is full of diversity. There are people who are on the mainstream, but there are many social groups, many binary oppositions, gender, non-binary oppositions also, caste-based social groups, religious-based social groups, region-based social groups, linguistic minority groups. They are yet to be brought to the mainstream, and NEP has a very clear mandate to provide equitable measure for them, so that we can have equality in the society. The second important pillar with reference to NEP 2020 is equity. One is access, another is equity. I'll come to you later on how on accessibility front for promoting equity, for promoting quality. This is important. The third pillar of NEP 2020, that is quality. Because in the advent of globalization and consequent upon RT Act 2009, what happens, there is change in the classroom dynamics in the classroom. So we will find students from different socio-economic background, students from different socio-cultural background, different regions, different linguistic backgrounds, different parenting, different schoolings, all kinds of diversities, are prevailing in one classroom under one roof. Now, on one hand, there is quantitative expansion of education. On the other hand, we are struggling to maintain quality, and that is why one of the mandates of NEP 2020 is to provide quality. And we need to strike a balance between the two, between quantitative expansion of education and quality education. If we fail to do so, otherwise what will happen, our classrooms will be thronged by the number, but on the quality front, we will be in the receiving end. And then affordability. How can we afford it? Affordability can be visualized on many counts, on many terms, that I'll discuss with you later on. And the last pillar is accountability. Accountability is a must. If we are not accountable to our profession, if we are not accountable to our duties, obviously all the mandates whatever we have developed in order to bring transformation in the country, the purpose will be defeated, and the purpose of transforming India into a global knowledge superpower will be defeated. So in order to materialize all these things, in order to convert the vision that we have carved up, these pillars need to be taken care of. Now, again, for the strategic alignment of NEP 2020 and its goals, we must not forget that there are certain key objectives. There are many other objectives as well that I'm not going to take care of because of the paucity of time. But obviously, in order to go on a particular track, which may ultimately take us to the destination, rightful destination, it is important that we need to be aware of the key objectives of NEP 2050. And one of them is universal access to education from preschool to secondary. That means by 2030, we need to have 100% gross enrollment ratio at the school. So, if you look at the historical perspective, after independence, many commissions and committees came and recommended how to go about achieving 100% literacy. But because of certain reasons, still we are not able to achieve 100% literacy, and similarly 100% gross ratio in the school is still a distant dream. We are not able to achieve. So NEP 2020 has set a target that by 2030 we need to have 100% gross enrollment ratio from preschool to secondary school. I'll come to the structural change that has taken place because of the recommendations of NEP 2020. How from this preschool to secondary education we need to work out a plausible strategy to provide both scope and space to the children so that they should remain associated with this formal education system. The second very important objective is achieve foundational literacy and numeracy for all by 2025 via national mission. So it is on the missionary basis across the country. We need to achieve foundational literacy and numeracy, FLN, and that is why we find that we have a new NCF for foundational stage has already come up, and it exclusively deals with literacy and numeracy. How preschool children cannot be, appreciated that they are going and attending the preschools in Anganwadi or some formal school. But on the achievement front, they must prove that yes, they have literacy skills, yes, they have numeracy skills, which in foundational stage related national curriculum framework, it has very categorically mentioned that unless and until we achieve this objective, the foundational literacy and numeracy will remain a mirage, will remain a distant dream. Then increasing gross enrollment ratio in higher education from 26.3% from 2018 to 50% by 2025. On one hand, other developed countries are going to achieve 70% or 80% gross enrollment ratio. But since we are still lagging behind in higher education in certain places, so that is why the goal is to achieve 50% GER by 2035. This is what we set, and hopefully that by virtue of the comprehensive and a very holistic approach, we will be able to achieve this particular ratio by the end of 2025. That is 50% of GER. Then promoting holistic, multidisciplinary, skill-based learning. So three things are important. Holistic is the key word for NEP 2020. I told you that multidisciplinary. Whenever we come across any new term, we must have curiosity. We must have inquisitiveness to know what other related words stand for. We have multidisciplinary. On the other hand, we have interdisciplinary, and on the other hand, we have transdisciplinary approaches. NEP 2020. मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, very clear.
Yeah. So
Sir, you are mute.
सर यू आर म्यूट. अरशद सर आप म्यूट हो गए हैं. अरशद सर आप म्यूट हो गए हैं.
अब सही हो गया, म्यूट हो गए?
जी सर अब आप हाँ नाउ यू आर ऑडिबल सर.
अच्छा, तो अभी मैंने ये ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो हायर एजुकेशन की बात की थी, क्लियर है? यहाँ तक क्लियर था?
जी सर.
Increase gross enrollment ratio from 26.3% to 50% 50% by 2035.
सॉरी सर, सॉरी इंटरप्ट यू, आपका स्क्रीन विजिबल नहीं है, आपका पीपीटी शेयर नहीं हो रहा है।
पीपीटी शेयर नहीं होता।
जी
नहीं, ज़रूरत नहीं है सर, क्योंकि हम लोग को ऑलरेडी एक वेबसाइट अभी मतलब बना हुआ है, वही वाला चल रहा है। और ये मीडिया और टीम वाला वो वाला चल रहा है, वो एक मतलब सबके साथ को
अब शेयर हो रहा है।
ऑडियो कॉलेज वाला ना।
सर, यस
Yes,
सर
sir.
सर।
अब दोनों चीजें काम कर रही हैं, ऑडिबल भी है आवाज और पीपीटी विजिबल।
नहीं तो वो आप मेरे को मेल करेंगे तभी तो मैं मेल को मैं
तो मैंने अभी तक बात की थी, ये स्लाइड्स में मैं खास से फर्स्ट 2 पॉइंट्स मैंने डिस्कस किया था, एंड आई वाज एक्सेसिबिलिटी। नाउ आई एम कमिंग टू द थर्ड बुलेट, दैट इज इंक्रीजिंग ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो इन हायर एजुकेशन from 26.3% to 50%. This is an irony of the fact that we are still struggling to achieve 50%, that too by 2034. ये विडंबना है कि हम 50% 2035 तक अचीव कर रहे हैं, लेकिन एनी बेसिस we were earlier lagging behind. Achieving this target will also require a comprehensive and a very rigorous effort, and that is why NEP 2020 has set this deadline that by 2035 we will be achieving 50% GR at the higher education level. अब ये आपके हमारे सामने दो टारगेट देख रहे हैं। फर्स्ट बुलेट में 100% स्कूल एजुकेशन का GR 2030 अचीव करना है, एंड by 2035 we have to achieve the target of 50% GR at the higher education level. And the last bullet of this particular slide, which deals with the key objectives of NEP 2020, it talks about promotion of holistic, multidisciplinary and skill-based learning. This is the point where my voice was lost and you could not hear. And I was talking about these three keywords are very important, whether it be holistic approach, whether it be multidisciplinary approach, or whether it be skill-based learning. So, holistic approach, multidisciplinary approach means when we talk about what I was interested in you to know out of curiosity that when we have a word like multidisciplinary, we must not forget that there are other related words that they are interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary. NEP 2020 exclusively talks about multidisciplinary approach. That means more than 2 disciplines should be used as medium of as a way of teaching, in order to help the students understand concept without any confusion and with all clarity. होता क्या confusion कब आता है? I give you one example. Geography के टीचर ने डेल्टा पढ़ाया, मैथमेटिक्स के टीचर ने डेल्टा पढ़ाया। कंसेप्ट बाय एंड लार्ज सेम हो सकता है, लेकिन डिसिप्लिन्स के अकॉर्डिंग दोनों डेल्टा अलग अलग तरीके से पढ़ाए जाते हैं, and that ultimately lead to confusion, and that is why it is important that by virtue of multidisciplinary approach, that means using 2 or more than 2 disciplines, we can sort out the problems there and then in the classroom, in order that any confusion should not be allowed to pile up, which may ultimately become an academic cancer, and the students may find himself not comfortable in that particular discipline. तो holistic approach को multidisciplinary approach और साथ साथ skill based learning की बात की NEP ने। By skill based learning it is meant that earlier we had courses and programs based on the theories. We could always give strong theoretical input to the students, but there would remain a gap between theory and practice. That gap need to be bridged, and that is why NEP does recommend that there should be linkage between institutional programs and the industrial demands. So unless and until there is a linkage between industries and academic institutions, we cannot give meaningful and productive education to our students. And that is why what happened, if we go by the theories could be taught for the same activities,
posting
and
रिन्यू करवा देता
if
हूँ ना,
they are not
तभी
linked with
मेरे
the
को कॉल
practice,
आया था, तो मैं
there
बोला
would be
ये तो
gap
देखना
between
होगा।
theory and practice, and students would be would be deprived
बंद
of
हो जाएगा, हाँ
skills,
वही
the
चीज़ है।
skills which may be
ठीक है
associated
सर, तो
with their employment.
10,900 कुछ है, 10,900 कुछ बोल रहे हैं, 10,900 बोल रही है सर। हाँ 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 10,900। हाँ हाँ वही चीज़ है सर।
I think there is some communication error. We are not able to
ओके
hear you, sir.
I think due to some technical glitch from that side, uh, sir will rejoin soon.
Dear participants, thank you so much for your patience. Kindly bear with us. We have some technical glitch, so the session will be resumed shortly.
कौन सा मेन मेन गेट के पास हो? अच्छा, वहाँ पे बोलो, हाँ वहाँ पे गार्ड को बोलो कि मेरे को सौमित्र सर से मिलना है। ठीक है, उनको बोलो। नहीं नहीं, गाड़ी आप अंदर लेके आ जाओ, गेट को गार्ड को बोलोगे तो गेट खोल देगा, कोई इशू नहीं। हाँ हाँ हाँ, मेरे से तो बात हेलो विनोद जी, भेज दो उनको। हाँ अंदर भेज दो।
presentation is starting. Flow आगे से शेयर
क्या कर
हाँ
म्यूट तो नहीं किया
आप पूछिए
म्यूट क्यों हो
यहाँ दिख रहा होगा जब वो म्यूट होता है तो यहाँ दिखने लगता है ये म्यूट नहीं है ये यहाँ पे है ना
स्क्रीन
आ रही है आपके पास पूछिए
अब आ रही है आवाज
Yes, you are
Yes,
audible,
sir.
perfectly audible.
सॉरी ये यहाँ पर यही प्रॉब्लम आती है सिंस आई एम अवे फ्रॉम माय होम एंड डिपार्टमेंट तो एनीवे हम बात कर रहे थे
Sir, kindly focus camera towards you because your half face is visible to us.
अभी देख लो
Now perfectly visible, sir.
हेलो
ठीक
सर, आप एक काम करना, आप ना एडमिन ब्लॉक
आगे नहीं बढ़ती
सर, आप ना एडमिन ब्लॉक ना
सभी दिखाई दे रही है
next important pillar is quality and foundational literacy and that is to improve learning outcomes especially foundational literacy and numeracy. I told you in the beginning that uh, the new which has been made by NEP 2020, unlike other commissions and committees, now foundational literacy and numeracy, and that is associated with quality. No foundational literacy, no foundational numeracy, unlike until we, give quality input, so that at the end of the day, learning outcomes could be improved. And this involves focusing on 21st century skills, not only in assessment, but also in teaching and learning. When we talk about holistic development, we must not forget that NEP promotes a multidisciplinary, a very competency-based curriculum. So we structure, revise, revamp curriculum, the existing curriculum. To develop curriculum, we should be compatible with the global standard, and we should be competency-based and outcome-based, so it could promote multidisciplinary approach and encourage experiential learning and problem solving. These three things are when we talk about post development of students, that we must provide exposure to the student for experiential learning in them, critical thinking, and obviously problem solving. Now, we talk about teacher development. It does not, rather, it is one step ahead. Talk about professional development of teachers in a different manner. And that is why the idea of NPST, you must be familiar, National Professional Standard, has been visualized, and it has been on the basis teachers could be trained, beginner, and then proficient, then expert, and then lead teachers. These are three stages of the teacher, and their professional development must be taken care of. And that is why policy recognizes the crucial role of teachers and emphasizes robust training programs and professional development. The robust training program. See, on one hand, NEP 2020 does talk about developing robust training programs for the professional development of teachers. On the other hand, it also recommends that robust research ecosystem must be in education institution. Robust ecosystem. There the system. There the term is programs for professional development of teachers. But the focus is on robust. But robust on the alumnus side, be interested to provide a teacher development program and also create robust such ecosystem. Now, technology integration is very important, and when we talk about the strategic alignment with NEP goals, we must overhaul the system. Whether it be higher education institution, school education, our education must be technology, and we must keep pace with time, in order that we should be technology savvy, and that is why NEP 2020 advocates for the integration of technology to enhance teaching learning process. So for enhancing or augmenting teaching learning process, in assessment, in exploring the assessment strategies, and in educational management, we must use technology because it is the technology which is expected to bring more quality, because technology is more free. Alignment with SDG goal. You must be familiar with the fact that in 2015, more than 200 nations across the world, they sat together and signed sustainable development. They are 17 in numbers, and there are more than 167 targets to achieve these 17 goals. When we talk about strategic alignment of SDG, NEP 2020 with SDG, SDG 4 is very prominent, because SDG 4 is referred to
quality and lifelong learning. And that is why policy aligns US SDG 4, which focuses on inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities. When we talk about inclusive means all of us uh, must be, given equal share, whether it be employment, whether it be education, and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunity. Then obviously that society will definitely be a knowledge society. I was discussing with you about structural reforms that NEP 2020 has brought into. I also told you that this is the first policy which focuses more on pre-school education, because if the foundation is obviously we will expect that our students will be performing even better in later stages, whether it be middle stage or secondary education or education stage. So NAP 2020 proposes structure which is based on 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 formula, and also tends to curricular responsible teacher also. Now this is the breakup of stages. Foundational stage, uh, 5 years, which covers early childhood केयर एंड एजुकेशन, 3 से 8 साल तक. इसमें 2 ऑप्शंस रखे गए, एक तो प्री स्कूल और दूसरा आंगनबाड़ी. Now you may have critique on this, because if we use critical analysis while making any document analysis, then obviously it will be a worthwhile exercise. So though the recommendation is that early childhood care and education focus is more group of 3, either and it covers class. But this 3 years of age covering class 1 and 2, which is called foundational stage, apart from preschooling, has many to and preschool education. Although on the other hand, those who are from uh, underrepresented sections, economically poor families, they go to Anganwadi. So this kind of selective morality will ultimately be very costly affair, because when NEP 2020 talks about equity, we need to have a holistic approach wherein all the children, whether rich or poor, they should be given equal access. So this is one of the areas, wherein we can be critical, and hopefully very soon government would definitely be opening more and more government schools where preschool education may be given, and our students who come from underrepresented sections, our students who come from under second is preparatory stage. So first is foundation stage, second is preparatory stage. जहाँ 3 to 8 years था, यहाँ पर 8 to 11 years. That means 4th और 5th क्लास के बच्चे प्रिपरेटरी स्टेज में. तो आपने देखा होगा पहले एजुकेशन का जो concept था वो यहाँ पर नहीं था. इस स्टेज के बाद फिर सीधे एजुकेशन पहले हुआ करता था, उसमें प्राइमरी और अपर प्राइमरी का मतलब क्लास 1 to 5, 6 to 8 हुआ करता था, वो खत्म हो गया. अब फाउंडेशन स्टेज के बाद प्रिपरेटरी स्टेज, जिसमें क्लासेस कौन सी होंगी? 5, क्योंकि 1 और क्लास ऑलरेडी फाउंडेशन स्टेज दी गई, तो प्राइमरी स्टेज का भी ब्रेकअप. और अभी अपर प्राइमरी एलिमेंट्री एजुकेशन का class 6 to 8 उसको admit and children belonging to the age group of 11 and 14 they go to participate in class 6 7 and the last stage is secondary stage which consists of 4 years 9 to 12 classes पहले secondary और senior secondary दो अलग अलग levels और stage मानी जाती थी now under secondary stage they have all the 4 classes beginning from 9 to 12 competitiveness एक और important highlight है key highlight है NEP because NEP aims to align with the standard particularly in higher education by linking four-year graduate programs the global mobility of so I told you that the focus of NEP is to set standard school education and higher education it has made it mandatory that all institutions, all the universities and these 4-year undergraduate programs work exclusively with so our students will not lag behind when it comes to getting admission in the world, any top-class institution, or anywhere in the world. Because unless and until our curriculum, our programs are global standard or compatible with global standard, we are not expecting more and more global mobility of students. So, NEP reforms which I have already discussed, but for that, higher education need to have flexible curricula, multiple and exit points, and now students are given to higher education at any age, depending upon their requirements. Should multiple entry and multiple तो जब हम हायर एजुकेशन आ रही है आवाज ना रजनी मैडम
हाँ जी सर अभी आ रही है ठीक है सर
हायर एजुकेशन रिफॉर्म्स की हमने बात की तो ये मल्टीपल एंट्री एंड मल्टीपल एग्जिट पॉइंट्स लेकिन ये तभी पॉसिबल है कि जब एमओयूज साइन होंगे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के बीच में और यही वजह है कि एनईपी ने कोलैबोरेशन की बात की कि हम विद इन कंट्री we can have many collaborative programs,
नहीं
collaborative
नहीं
programs
कभी वहीं की
university
साइड
के साथ collaborate कर सकती है, and for all this it is important that we have
Sorry for
maybe
interruption, sir. नहीं I वो फिर request बैठ Madam नहीं Anju सकती kindly mute yourself.
तो इसी तरीके से एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट जो है वो उसका एक ये ड्यू टू सम अनअवॉइडेबल सर्कमस्टांसेस इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू कंटिन्यू विद माय अंडर ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम, so that 1 year will not be lost any time. Whenever I find things are conducive to my requirement, I may continue, I may enter into the programs again, and accordingly we can exit at any point. So this is the flexibility I was discussing about the flexibility. This kind of flexibility has been, given by NEP 2020, and also, so we need to. NRF will definitely be funding and promoting research in all disciplines. Thus, we will be able to foster a culture of innovation and excellence, which is another very important landmark decision by NEP 2020, that we must create a robust research ecosystem wherein all the stakeholders should work in tandem, and there should be a culture wherein we can expect that more and more innovations and excellence could take place. Now, when we talk about a strategic alignment with NEP 2020 goals, we must not forget that we have as many as 4 or 5 important variables that need to be taken into cognizance. One of them is curriculum and pedagogy. As I told you, since there is a shift from structure, replacing 10 plus 2 and structural change, since structural change has already occurred consequent upon the recommendations of NEP 2020, we need to bring changes into pedagogic practices as well. And as I told you in the beginning, that since classroom dynamic is now changing, students coming from different socio-economic background, different parenting and linguistic background are coming. Our classroom dynamic is changing, and every learner is having his or her own learning strategy. So they use different learning strategies, and unless and until our pedagogic practices are in tune with their individual learning strategies, we will not be able to do justice. And that is why it is important that we need to promote experiential learning, inquiry-based learning, and obviously for that, panacea to all the problems is multidisciplinary learning. The second important variable, as I told you, is technology integration, and obviously there are many issues pertaining to technological integration in a country which is still in a transition phase. We are transforming, we are trying to adopt new technology, but there are many challenges. As you are witnessing to this, I changed from one network platform to another in order to connect with you. This is the challenge. But anyways, since this is the transition phase, let us see light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully all problems will be resolved. And that is why NEP, in the hope of creating an environment of digital learning, it has recommended for the establishment of National Educational Technology Forum, that is NETF, which will definitely be a panacea for all kinds of problems related to technology integration. Then this is an age of AI. Every new thesis, every new dissertation is a product of AI-enabled platform. Students are very, very skilled in using this platform, and that is why within no minute they are able to produce many new things. So we need to be aware of its uses and misuses, and we need to promote AI. It doesn't mean that we should discourage people not to use AI, but obviously judicious use of AI needs to be encouraged, and for that we need to have virtual labs and digital content delivery system so that we can cope with all such situations very carefully. Then, when we talk about teacher education program, 4 years Bachelor of Education as minimum qualification by 2030, and since we are in transition phase, I don't know what the future of DLED and 2 years BEd and other such teacher education courses will hold for them, But let us hope that there will be complete revamping and rehauling, which will ultimately, definitely be paving way for bringing quality in teacher education program as well. Then we have continuous professional development, as I told you, that NPST, National Professional Standard of Teachers, is one solution that NEP has given. There may be another, recommendations made by NEP, which exclusively talk about providing continuous professional development for teachers and enable them to enhance pedagogy, emanating from teaching across the levels, whether it be preschool education or foundational stage or primary stage, middle stage or secondary stage. Now, focus areas for alignment. Let us concentrate on the focus areas for alignment. As I told you, the new takeaway of this NEP 2020 is early childhood care and education, and we have already had this NCF for foundational stage, in which very detailed, very comprehensive discussion has been made how foundational literacy and numeracy is need to be taken care of to withstand the challenges for the children who are coming from different parenting, from different socio-cultural background, and to do this, it is important that we need to promote the mandate of NEP 2020, that is related to universal access to quality ECCE, that is early childhood care and education for ages 3 to 6 through Anganwadi and preschools. So again, I am, making you aware of the selective morality. When we talk about Anganwadi on one hand, preschools on other hand, we need to make it sure whether we are interested in giving quality and equity, equitable, we are giving equitable measure for bringing quality in education or not, because in Anganwadis, those children are coming who are from underrepresented sections, whereas in preschools, there are children, usually they are from well-off or affluent family. So this kind of double standard would cost dearly in terms of giving equal opportunity to all. So that needs to be critically pondered over. Okay. Then NCRT to develop ECC training framework for teachers. So very soon we will be having a framework for teachers. That framework would be a guidebook, a teacher's book or handbook when it comes to teaching early children, in the preschool stage. Then vocational education. This is a debate since Kothari Commission, since Madariar Commission, and even NP 1986, and in between NEP 1968. All these commissions and committees did talk about vocationalization of education or giving vocational education. Even if we look at basic education as envisioned by Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Zakir Hussain, the concept was that after completing basic education, every child should become an earning unit. That means we need to link education with vocational skills, so that our students, after completing our students after completing formal education should not be a liability or burden on the system. And that is why some kind of vocational training, some kind of vocational skills need to be developed, and that is why introduction of vocational training would start from grade 6, as suggested by NEP 2020, and it should be aligned with industrial needs. So suppose we have listed out 4 5 vocational skills, and we start giving training to the students. आवाज आ रही है मेरी? Am I audible?
Yes,
डॉक्टर
sir.
रजनी, आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा,
Perfectly
ठीक
audible.
ठीक है, ठीक, थैंक यू। तो ये वोकेशनल कोर्सेज जो है हमने यूं ही लिस्ट आउट कर लिया और दे दिया, नहीं। आज जो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या है, हमारी जब बच्चे हमारे पढ़ करके बाहर जाते हैं मार्केट में, तो इंडस्ट्रियल नीड कुछ और होती है, पढ़ाते हैं कुछ और हैं। तो बोथ आर पोल अपार्ट। एक नॉर्थ पोल की बात कर रहा है हमारा एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन, इंडस्ट्रीज जो है साउथ पोल की बात कर रहे हैं, वी आर पोल अपार्ट। So there should be linkage between industrial requirement and what theoretical input that we give in school or in higher education institutions. So there should be such vocational education which could be productive, which could be meaningful. So introduction of vocational training from grade 6 is as suggested by NEP 2020, but it cautioned that it should be aligned with industrial needs. Then integration of vocational courses into higher education. So not only at the school level, but at the higher education level also, the importance of vocational courses cannot be denied or cannot be overlooked, cannot be ignored. And that is why the focus is more on developing employability skill, whatever programs our students may be pursuing at the higher education level. Then multilingualism, NEP 2020 is more interested in uh, maintaining the identity of all the culture, and that is why multiculturalism and multilingualism need to be used as a resource for teaching at different levels, and that is why, like other education commissions and committees, it also endorsed that yes, three language formula need to be uh, further continued, need to be continued with flexibility, just need to be promoted with multilingualism. But we are yet to visualize how multilingualism could be used as resource or as teaching strategy at across the levels, whether it is pre-primary stage or higher education stage. Then assessment reforms. Now, as I told you that assessment is school-based assessment. NEP has given major recommendation, and one of the major recommendations of NEP 2020 is to promote school-based assessment, and there is a need to bring reform into present assessment strategies. That means there's a shift from rote learning to competency-based assessment. So we need to focus more on how much competency the students, the learners have, developed, and based on that we assess their performance, whether they are going in the right direction or not. Now, there are many higher education reforms that have been suggested by NEP 2020, and one of them is establishment of multidisciplinary higher education institutions. So instead of higher education to be seen as a standalone college, so NEP very strongly criticized the idea of standalone colleges or institution, and it has recommended that such colleges, such institutions must be done away with there and then immediately, because there's a need to have multidisciplinary higher education institution where all the students across the disciplines need to be beneficiary, and this goal needs to be achieved by 2030. Then permission for foreign universities to set up campus in India, and IITs to expand overseas. So this is two-way traffic. Not only we need to allow foreign campuses to be placed here, but IITs, our top-class institutions, whether IITs or IIMs or other institutions of eminence, they must open campus to other countries, so that foreign students could be lured into looking for or pursuing courses or programs which have Indian knowledge system, which is based on Indian knowledge system, and this is how we can import and export knowledge, and this is how we can have promotion of cross cultural and cross lingual exchanges. So this idea is also being mooted by NEP 2020, but there is a fear, there is apprehension. In case foreign university campuses are set up in India, obviously those who are from affluent class, those who are from uh, well-off families, their wards may afford to study in these campuses without taking risk of flying away to far-off countries. Within their own country, they can have foreign degrees, but on the other hand, there is a possibility that our top-class institutions may turn into sub-stat teachers, who are already placed there. They may migrate to these proposed foreign universities, from foreign university campuses to be set up in metropolitan cities of India in the first instance. Then, as I told you, multiple entry and exit points in degree programs and credit-based system. These are another very important recommendation. I'm not going to talk in details, about these two things. You are already familiar with, and then creating of higher education commissions of India as a single regulator. Now, you again may give your own critique whether this recommendation is good, could be suitable for the academic health of all the institutions of different disciplines, or this institution as recommended by NEP 2020, that is Higher Education Commission, may be counterproductive, because under one umbrella we cannot serve the interest of different institutions which are taking care of different disciplines. And that is why a single regulator system in the guise of, or in the form of Higher Education Commission, is being criticized on many fronts. But anyway, it is one of the recommendations of NEP 2020, and there is also the benefits of such commission, because it may, at the end of the day, remove many of the confusions which appear because of overlapping in the system, at different points.
हाँ ये उसके आईपी एड्रेस में
Now,
दिखा रहा
we
है
have issues related to implementation of
तो उसमें आईपी एड्रेस में दिखा रहा
implementation
है
implementation of recommendations of
202.198
NEP 2020. So let us see,
ये
let us work out some plausible strategies to make it sure that it or in right unless or not.
हाँ
And there are certain variables that need to be taken care of, and one of them is curriculum frameworks. So very soon, we will be in a position to have all the frameworks, whether it is national curriculum framework for school education or higher education or adult education or foundation stage. We have already framework for that. Other frameworks are in the offing, because subject wise committee are developing curriculum frameworks that may serve the interest of NEP by providing holistic and multidisciplinary learning, because till now we are simply looking at things with blank eyes, how to go about implementing this holistic and multidisciplinary learning. But
तो
with
ये
frameworks
कहाँ से
coming
करेंगे
in
सर
very shortly, it is expected that we are likely to have clarity without any confusion. We can easily go about implementing all these things in the right areas. Then we have teacher training program and necessary training and professional development to implement the policy effectively is emphasized, and then resource sharing. School complexes will be established. So one of the key and very important recommendations made by NEP 2020 is also resource sharing. Earlier in NP, if we draw a parallel, if we draw a parallel between NP 1986 and NEP 2020, we see that on one hand NP 1986 is strongly recommended for pooling of resources. Here, it talks about resource sharing, and in the form of resource sharing, NEP 2020 has given the idea of a school complex. In one school complex, all the possible quality resources may be put so that all the schools in the vicinity may be beneficiaries. All the students studying in the nearby schools may be beneficiaries, and so is the case with the teachers. And this is how we can facilitate resource sharing and collaboration among schools. बोर तो नहीं हो रहे डॉक्टर रजनी आवाज चल रही है आ रही है
No, sir, keep continue.
अच्छा 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 टिल व्हाट टाइम शुड आई कंटिन्यू ताकि मैं अपने आप को लिमिट कर लूं चलिए इम्प्लीमेंटेशन स्ट्रेटजीज की जब बात हो रही थी अभी मैंने बात की थी आपसे करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क की टीचर ट्रेनिंग की रिसोर्स शेयरिंग की अब 2-3 पॉइंट्स पर और डिस्कशन कर लेते हैं ओवरकमिंग लैंग्वेज बैरियर्स Now, consequent upon the recommendations of NEP 2020, UGC has decided to develop reading material in all 22 official languages, and hopefully this will be a great initiative, in order to overcome language barriers that hamper the very process of learning. So, no student, based on their own native language, may feel deprived deprived of learning the text which is in the alien language, in the language which is alien to them, in the language which is not their native language, and this effort will be made to address language barriers, to ensure inclusive education. Ultimately, the goal is what? To create an inclusive society, and this creation of inclusive society can be possible when there's a famous quote, charity begins at home. Let a school should create an ambience right from the beginning so that we should start promoting inclusive education. And one of the pillars or charter of education, if you are familiar with, is the fourth pillar of education, which is mentioned in the International Charter of Education, learning to live together. So one of the pillars of education is what? Learning to live together. And this inclusive education, the idea of inclusive education, takes us towards that direction. We can develop the art of living together, and that will ultimately promote the inclusive society, pluralistic society, diverse society. And then we will be able to appreciate, we will be able to accept, respect, and celebrate the diversity in different shades and tone and tenor. And the second important strategy that is likely to be taken for effective implementation of NEP is fixing common standard. Now we are living in an age, where on one hand, students in government schools with blank eyes, living in pathetic condition. They are not, receiving any quality education. No employability skill is being developed. On the other hand, top class private schools are, producing top class students who are competing in all the competitive exams, and this kind of selective morality, this kind of double standard would definitely mar the very essence of the country. And that is why NEP is of the view that there is a need to fix common standard, and that can be possible to establish common standards for both public and private schools, so that they can perform equally well on certain points. Another important implementation strategy is monitoring and evaluation. So regular monitoring and evaluation will be crucial to track the progress of NEP, because what happened, over the period of time since independence, that in the first instance we have top class teacher education institutions. Then there was a mushroom growth of TEIs, that is teacher education institution. what happened in for the name of quality, for the sake of giving quality education. They already brought corruption into the system, and that is why, because of the poor monitoring mechanism or poor monitoring system, we were not able to have control over that. And that is why NEP has, set the agenda that regular monitoring and evaluation will be crucial to track the progress of NEP 2020, whether it is implemented and necessary adjustment is being made to implement it. Now, challenges in implementation: inconsistent funding and resource allocation. This is an irony, On one hand, we have very ambitious plan. On the other hand, the ground reality is that all the higher education institutions are struggling to meet their daily requirement, let alone, you know, introducing new programs or courses or appointing new faculty members for meeting their need. On one hand, we target that 6% of GDP be there for living up to the expectations for education. Yet we are not able to cross even 2.75% of GDP, and that is the irony, biggest irony. And that is why, because of inconsistent funding and resource allocation, we are at the crossroads as to whether we will be able to implement the NEP 2020 recommendations uh, with full spirit. Then resistance to change due to entrenched educational practices. Now, every day we have some innovative ideas or new practices. So there is a resistance. There are teachers, there are students who are not ready to bring change. They are not ready to change. And because of their set mindset, they are not ready to change. And that is also one of the barriers. That is why we are not able to implement many of the lucrative programs in the right university. Then we have concerns about autonomy of institution due to NTA. We have National Testing Agency. All the tests are being conducted by NTA. So whether it is right or not, we need to have a very rigorous research study on this. But yes, there are certain institutions which have their own concerns about the autonomy, their autonomy. When we are autonomous institution, why some other foreign agency is there to conduct entrance tests or other tests? That is also big challenge. Then need for large scale teachers training infrastructure development. On the one hand, we recommend that teachers need to be given professional development, space and scope for professional development. But that is infrastructure, which is essentially required for giving them professional development, is still badly missing, and that is why it becomes a major barrier that hampers the progress of implementing this particular implementation. Now we need to look for some plausible strategies for effective alignment, engagement of center, states and HEIs. Now they need to work in tandem. Center, on one hand we have central government, on the other hand we have state government, and then we have HEIs, higher education institutions. Higher education institutions of controlled by central government, higher education institutions controlled by state government, higher education institutions which are of private in nature, they need to implement. They need to have cohesive approach. They need to work in tandem to implement the effective alignment, and then only we can see the major change or quantum jump in higher education system. Then we have professional development of teachers through digital or distance learning programs. Obviously, we cannot cater to the need of such a mammoth population of the country. We cannot have more and more higher education institutions on physical mode. Obviously, we have digital and distance learning programs which need to be promoted, and those who are aspirants of continuing with their higher education, they should look forward to availing this opportunity through open and distance learning program system. Then technology adoption, we need to have leverage with NETF, National Education Technology Forum for tech solutions and education. Then we need to have monitoring evaluation we need to set stage-wise targets and track progress for FLN. So, as I told you, that more and more emphasis is given on FLN by NEP 2020, that is foundational literacy and numeracy. Now, there is a need to have alignment between vocational and formal education system. So, on one hand, NEP 2020 focuses on integrating vocational education into mainstream education across all boards in education. On the other hand, owing to the paucity of system, we are not able to implement this particular strategy as total, and that is why it aims for at least 50% of schools and higher education students to have access to vocational education by 2025. But again, which I told you repeatedly, that our vocational programs need to have strong linkage with industries, and skill education programs should be introduced on demand-driven courses basis. Finally, this is the last slide because I'm tired. I'm an old person, and in between I was disconnected. I'm very sorry for that, for putting you to inconvenience. But as part of concluding slide, which may enable you to understand even more clearly about the strategic alignment pertaining to NEP 2020 goals, let us know what exactly we need to visualize about this. NEP 2020, as I mentioned you in the beginning, is a transformative step towards an inclusive, equitable, and quality education. These three words are important. Inclusive, when we talk about inclusive, that means we cannot exclude anyone, no social group, no person belonging to different religion, different disabilities may be included, all of them under one roof, and the education need to be equitable. And as I told you twice, that we need to strike a balance between two. On one hand, we have quantitative expansion, so we need to strike a balance between quantitative expansion of education, and on the other hand, quality education, which should not be compromised at the cost of entertaining all the students. Then strategic alignment requires collaboration. As I told you, within the country, different institutions can launch some collaborative programs, can have some e-twinning program. On the other hand, we can have collaboration with foreign universities or institutions of eminence, so that we can cross-cultural exchange, we can have cross-lingual exchange, we can have a student exchange program, we can have teacher exchange program, so that we can import and export knowledge in a proper manner. Then we can have technology integration and continuous improvement. Then the goal of NEP 2020 is to position India as a global knowledge superpower by 2047, जो अमृत काल के नाम से जाना जाता है. Hopefully, we will, whether I am alive or not, but we should see light at the end of the tunnel. मुझे मालूम नहीं 2047 में मैं जिंदा रहूँगा नहीं रहूँगा, लेकिन अमृत काल आएगा, ऐसी पॉसिबिलिटी है अगर NEP 2020 को हम अच्छी तरीके से इंट्रोड्यूस करें. So with this, I am grateful to once again the organizer of this program, Dr. Rajini Gaur, and others who made a significant collaborative effort to organize this program. I'm very sorry for disappointing you, for not being able to connect with you on time, and then when I connected, I disconnected on many occasions. But I was spiritually connected with you, and hopefully, in the course of this connection, digital connection with you, I was able to take across the message that you were expecting from me to give to you. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Rajni. Dr. Rajni.
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
आवाज आ रही मेरी?
Yes, sir, you are perfectly audible. Ma'am, you are muted. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, thank you so much, sir. So much. Despite a few technical interruptions during the session, we are truly grateful for today's enriching session, sir. And the session was really thought provoking. And special thanks to all the participants for your patience and uh, like, I would like to mention here if the participant has any question, they can raise their question and drop the question in the chat box as well, or directly ask the
Ma'am,
question to the resource person.
am I audible, ma'am, now?
Yes, you are audible,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. It is a question answer round session. Please ask your queries. Although sir has elaborated the things in a very well manner, so I don't think that we have much queries, but yet still, if we have queries, kindly ask.
You are most welcome to speak your heart out without
Sir,
any
sir,
discomfort.
I need to ask one question.
Ji, please, please.
Sir, NEP 2020 talks about multilingualism, where we focus on mother tongue to provide the education initially in mother tongue. But Central Advisory Board of Education in 1956 already talk about three language formula, and which was adopted in 1968, our national policy. So, like how these two contexts are different from each other, or we are taking the same concept with a more zeal and zest to incorporate in the new education policy system?
Okay. See, we have two different concepts. The idea of three language formula, as given by different commissions and committees and endorsed by all the commissions and committees one by one after another. Even NEP 2020 has endorsed that yes, three language formula need to be continued. What was the idea behind three language formula? That linguistic diversity of the country needs to be maintained, and for that, at the primary level, let medium of instruction be the native language or mother tongue, and second language may be introduced after class 5 at the upper primary stage from class 6, and then at the secondary stage we can have third language. For North Indians, it was suggested that pick up or opt for some South Indian languages, and for South Indians, it was mandatory that they should study Hindi. They should learn Hindi. So, in order to maintain the rich linguistic diversity of the country, when we talk about multilingualism, multilingualism is not restricted to one particular term. It is multilingual, uh, multilingual education, MLE, multilingual education. So when we talk about multilingualism, it means that when we use two or more than two languages as medium of instruction. See the difference. On the one hand, in the context of three language formula, let mother tongue or native language be the medium of instruction, only one language. But when we talk about multilingualism or multilingual education, we expect that more than two languages may be combined or in a joint manner used as medium of instruction. Why? Because when students are coming from different linguistic diversity, they should feel at home. I give you one example. This program you are conducting in Punjab. तो पंजाब में अगर हमको पंजाबी नहीं आती, हमने 2-3 वर्ड बोल दिया, that will be the best resource to connect with those who are from Punjab. ये वैसा ही है जैसे मुझे मलयालम नहीं आती, लेकिन मलयालम जा करके मैंने किसी से कह दिया निंडे पेरे इंडाने, तो खुश हुआ, अच्छा आर यू फ्रॉम केरला? मैंने कहा नो आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम केरला. बताएगा इंडे पेरे अशोक कुमार. तो दिस पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस, ओनली वन सेंटेंस of alien language will definitely be helping you connect with that. तो ये जो स्कूल एजुकेशन या हायर एजुकेशन का जो सबसे बड़ी विडंबना ये रही कि अनफॉर्चुनेटली इंस्टेड ऑफ क्रिएटिंग होम एनवायरनमेंट, लेट फॉर्मल एजुकेशन सिस्टम बी second home for the students, but that homely feeling is missing. Why? Because we are not talking to them in their own language. Since classroom dynamics is changing because of the linguistic diversity. As teachers, we need to be aware of different languages, and with little care and attention, we can enable them to feel it.
Thank you, sir. Any other question, participants? So now it is the time to present a vote of thanks. So on behalf of Cordia College, I extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. Arshad Ikram Ahmad sir for his thought-provoking and enlightening session on strategic alignment with the NEP 2020 goals and your insight into how artificial intelligence can be strategically integrated to realize the vision of NEP 2020 have truly broadened our understanding and opened new perspective for educational transformation. I would also like to express my heartfelt thanks to our management, whose continuous encouragement and vision make such academic engagement possible. A special word of appreciation to our head academics for their leadership and academic direction. I also thank the entire organizing team, faculty coordinators, technical support staff, whose tireless efforts ensured the smooth conduction of this session. Your dedication and teamwork are deeply appreciated. Finally, I thank all the participants for their active engagement and enthusiasm, which added great value to today's program. Let us carry forward the learning from this session into our practices and policies, so as we strive to align education with innovation. Thank you everyone for being here with us virtually and to be the part of this enriching session. Thank you so much. Kindly open your cameras for a group photo. Dear all, kindly open your cameras for a group photo. Kindly open your cameras for group photo once. Thank you very much all. Kindly fill the feedback form for the attendance purpose and also try to fill it on time, because later on we are receiving requests from so many people that ma'am, we have forgot to fill the form. So kindly fill the form on time. Otherwise I have to stop the responses by today night. Thank you so much. We'll share it on WhatsApp group as well. And tomorrow we have 2 sessions and 2 experts from 11:30 to 12:30 and 12:30 to 1:30. So kindly be there not to miss any of the expert. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.